All right, let's jump right into this explainer and kick off our sociological journey to understand how our modern identities are shifting and honestly, just how they're manifesting in today's crazy world. We're going to be looking at the beautifully chaotic, sometimes hilarious, and occasionally frustrating elements that make up exactly who we are right now. And we'll be drawing all of this from some truly fascinating recent studies and observations. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll be hitting 5 main stops: the middle class roots, the corporate Majdor rebellion, defining modern love, embracing the cringe, and finally, the unapologetic tourist.
Starting us off with Section 1, the middle-class roots, nostalgia, quirks, and those classic sustihushia.
So we really have to start at the baseline of our shared nostalgia, right? That quintessential middle-class upbringing where finding cheap thrills was practically religion. You know the old saying, for the optimist, the bottle is half full. For the pessimist, it's half empty. But for the middle class, the bottle is fully empty, which is a massive win because now we can wash it out and reuse it to store water in the fridge. It's brilliant! We are literally wired from childhood to find extreme joy in squeezing the absolute last drop of value out of every single thing we own. And you can see this mindset everywhere in the physical symbols of our youth. Just think back for a second. We all know the drill of buying clothes one size too big so you could grow into them, meaning they only actually fit you for about, 2 weeks before they were completely worn out? Or how about that iconic, flimsy black faux leather folder your dad got for free somewhere, which was somehow trusted to securely hold the family's entire 15 to 20 lakh financial portfolio? Then there's the legendary Goldridge Almira, keeping our important papers safe, which somehow always included outdated 10th class date sheets. And let's not forget the ultimate weekend excursion, going to the SBI branch just to update a passbook as a Saturday hobby. I mean, nothing captures this wonderfully thrifty childhood better than the shared trauma of your mom secretly expanding the waist of your old school uniform pants to avoid buying new ones. You look in the mirror, see that weird V-shape stitched into the back, and you are caught in the ultimate dilemma. Do I trust my mother, who says it looks perfectly fine, or do I trust my pants? It's basically early childhood resilience training. Moving on to Section 2, the corporate Majdor rebellion, satire as survival in the workplace. So what happens when we grow up? Well, that innocent childhood anxiety just kind of morphs into modern corporate burnout. We take that survivalist mindset straight into the cubicle. Just look at this number, 13 million. That is the massive number of followers for the Instagram meme movement Cockroach Genta Party. And what's wild is that it directly inspired a Gargon-based ex-Amazon employee to launch his very own satirical political party on LinkedIn, calling it the corporate Majdor Genta Party. And if we actually walk through their satirical manifesto, it is just fascinating how perfectly it nails the collective exhaustion of the modern corporate worker. They demand a 4-day work week purely because pretending to enjoy work for 5 days is physically exhausting. They want those dreaded quick call messages officially categorized as workplace harassment. Any PowerPoint over 50 slides? Unconstitutional. And my personal favorite, if you manage to survive 3 consecutive layoffs, you should automatically earn a freedom fighter pension. It's hilarious, sure, but it resonated so deeply that people actually flooded the internet trying to figure out where they could vote for this guy. And then there's this absolute gem of a quote demanding that HR saying "we are family" should fall under emotional manipulation laws. Delivered with a total wink, it shows exactly how the internet uses sharp satire as a shield against everyday workplace absurdities. When the corporate machine feels way too big to change, naming the absurdity becomes our way of taking a little bit of power back. All right, shifting gears to Section 3, defining modern love, the 2026 dating lexicon. Stepping away from the office and into our personal lives, let's explore how we navigate relationships in the digital age. Everything moves so fast now, and we apparently need a label for all of it. But what's really interesting here is how these absurdly funny labels actually serve a psychological purpose. They validate really confusing encounters. We've got monkey branching, lining up a new romantic interest before letting go of the old one; freak matching, bonding over highly specific, unconventional quirks; wildflowering is exploring a connection without putting any rigid labels on it; yap trapping, we've all been there, when you're literally held hostage by a one-sided conversation on a date; and finally, churromance, where true bonding happens over a mundane grocery run. Now, the actual behaviors themselves, not new at all. People have always felt ignored or found chemistry in weird, boring places. But the speed at which we name, meme, and categorize these things is a distinctly modern coping mechanism. Instead of launching into a long, painful explanation of a bad date, using a catchy term like yap trapping
instantly creates emotional distance. It takes a frustrating encounter and instantly turns it into a joke you can share online. Which brings us nicely to Section 4, Embracing the Cringe, the digital heartland's pursuit of fame. This whole desire to neatly label and share our lives leads us to a fascinating internet subculture, largely driven by Tier 2 and Tier 3 towns. According to a brilliant study commissioned by IIM Udaipur, creators are moving away from polished urban perfection and actively aspiring to be cringe legends. We're talking about cringe content, deliberately posting self-humiliating or awkward stuff, like terrible dancing or off-key singing. By fully embracing these imperfections, they are creating a totally unrefined, inclusive safe space that completely rejects sophisticated aesthetics. But here is the absolute sociological kicker from the source material. There is a massive gender divide in why they do this. For female creators from lower socioeconomic strata, monetizing their content is often the primary way to legitimize their work and actually negotiate family approval. They're using it to build agency. Male Gen Z creators, on the flip side, are mostly chasing immediate, visceral validation and instant fame. Yet surprisingly, while their format is rebellious, the content itself often upholds very traditional, bold, and authoritative values. It's a really complex look at how identity is performed online today.
Let's step out of the digital world for our final section, Section 5, the unapologetic tourist, the clash of freedom and public chaos. What happens when our desire to extract maximum value goes out into the physical, public world? We really have to ask, why is it so incredibly difficult for us to simply behave in public spaces? Looking at the modern Indian tourist, the source material notes they seem heavily burdened by a constant anxiety to perform. There's this desperate need to extract maximum value from every trip and prove to the whole WhatsApp status economy that they are having the time of their lives, even if it means creating absolute chaos for everyone else around them.
And you've seen the results of this unofficial public behavior, right? We're talking about young guys dancing half naked on freezing, snow-covered mountains for Instagram. People pasting Gujur Bro stickers completely over official road signs. Tourists blasting Karan Aujla on portable speakers in completely silent monasteries. Or people literally emptying hotel body wash dispensers into plastic bottles to take home. We seem to have this peculiar itch for chaos, resisting any form of neatness or order in shared spaces.
The author of our source material points out something profound here. True civic sense requires a shared commitment to restraint, and fundamentally, the awareness that the other exists. When we lack that, we are essentially ghosting the other. It requires a feeling of guilt when we break a public code. But that guilt is totally bypassed when we view ourselves as totally free birds, or, as the author humorously calls us, cage-free chickens, who just refuse to be boxed in by rules. This observation from an airport washroom cleaner is incredibly sobering. So many educated people come here, yet they still throw chewing gum into the urinals. This anchors a really compelling sociological argument from the text. In a society historically fractured by caste and class, people often subconsciously outsource their civic responsibility to whoever they perceive is below them in the hierarchy. The mindset is, it's not my job to clean this up. It creates this exceptional sense of impunity where pride completely replaces any sense of guilt.
It's exactly what the philosopher Thomas Hobbes warned us about. Unlimited freedom just produces permanent conflict. We currently live in a state where any demand for order feels like a direct attack on our personal freedom, which makes basic public harmony nearly impossible. Accepting a little restraint is the actual price we have to pay to escape chaos. So I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. As we desperately seek joy, validation, and raw freedom across our private, digital, and public lives, what does this chaotic footprint actually say about the future of our modern identity? From our moms expanding our pants to fighting corporate jargon with memes, embracing online cringe, and struggling with basic civic sense, we are a beautifully complex, highly anxious society figuring ourselves out in real time. I really hope this inspires you to look a little closer at the fascinating, everyday sociology happening all around us. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep asking questions, and I'll catch you in the next one.